The ICC's decision to issue a warrant of arrest for Vladimir Putin is hugely significant in destabilizing and denormalizing the relationship between Russia and Europe. The ICC's announcement will radically reshape the nature of this relationship, and not just between Russia and Europe, but actually between Russia and the rest of the world. For democratic states in particular, where leaders are more sensitive to public opinion, there is no tribute or merit in siding with what is now a convicted war criminal. There is an increasing realization that there is no potential for doing business with Putin, and therefore there is no reason to hedge politically against an outcome in which his regime can persist. To put it bluntly, Putin in Europe has no face on which to stand. This is true also internally in Russia, where many of the parts of the Russian elite, the political elite, who have allowed themselves to believe in at least a partial post-war reconciliation with the West, there is increasing discontent. Putin has thus far headed off dissatisfaction amongst these parts of the elite, particularly those whose own power is tied to trade and finance rather than security and hydrocarbons. Amongst the Russians, there has been a degree of what is strategic ambiguity about how this war might end and what might come afterwards. But Putin's new formal status as a convicted war criminal, and with all the intended consequences that will bring, not just in Europe but also beyond, means there is no longer anything worthwhile for which the Russian elite should wait. However, many of these jurisdictions do come with limitations, as ultimately the ICC still does not have any powers to arrest an individual without the cooperation of a member state. This was seen with the former Kenyan president Uhuru Kenyatta, who had killed thousands of people, but managed to resist arrest in his home country thanks to their cooperation for him and against the ICC. Furthermore, Russia is not one of the 123 members who accept the ICC's jurisdiction and therefore will reject any formal declarations. Whilst this jurisdiction is significant symbolically, Putin, of course, will not sit idly, and he will work to discredit the ICC. And ultimately, until the US halts its refusal to engage with the ICC, the US needs to halt its refusal to engage with the ICC and ratify the Rome Statute. The treaty, as a Kremlin spokesman claimed, whilst effective in limiting Vladimir Putin's travel, as ultimately now he cannot step foot in any of the 123 member states who are now legally required to arrest him if he does, as a Kremlin spokesman would claim, it is essentially null and void until there is a full NATO alignment, including the US.